My model girlfriend was dating me for money, so I secretly used her connections to get my revenge. Now my ex is trying to win me back. I'm 29, and I've been dating my fiancée Bella, 25, for almost a year. Bella is a beginner model and an incredibly beautiful girl. She's so beautiful that for the first few months, I couldn't even believe we were dating. My friends couldn't believe it either, because I look completely ordinary. Although they say looks don't matter, I still felt strange being with a girl who was so attractive, unlike me. I was perfectly fine with simple dates, but about 6 months into the relationship, she started hinting that we should get married. By that time, I was so in love with her that I was ready to fulfill any of her desires. So, after 7 months of dating, I decided to propose to Bella, and she agreed without hesitation. Friends and family were a bit shocked at how quickly everything was progressing. Since I was happy, they were happy for me and didn't ask too many questions. Our relationship was going relatively well. Although we had our ups and downs, I believed our love was real, at least for me. But about 3 months ago, she invited her friends to help with the wedding preparations. I was feeling sick that day and dozed off in the bedroom, but after a while, I got up to go eat. I stopped by the kitchen because I heard Bella and her friends talking about me in the living room. They didn't see me and continued to say nasty things about me, laughing at their mean jokes. They mocked all my insecurities, and I stood there, turning red with anger and shame. It got worse when Bella herself joked that she had snagged a rich fool with terrible looks and was now living the dream. This cruel joke made them all burst into laughter. I went back to the room because I couldn't take it anymore. I didn't even want to know what else she could have said. I was just burning with rage inside. I wanted to break up with her immediately, but I held back and decided to play the long game, using her just as she had used me. I'm a web developer and make decent money, so I pay all the bills, as Bella can't afford it. She's just starting her modeling career and doesn't make enough to maintain the lifestyle she wants, and her parents aren't rich enough to help her. So, she's very dependent on me financially. She even moved in with me just 2 months into our relationship because she said she couldn't afford the rent. I offered her to stay at my place temporarily, but she never left. Since then, I've been paying for all her whims. I pay for her taxi to castings, her clothes, accessories, cosmetics, and more. So, she wasn't entirely wrong. She really did find a rich fool. When I overheard that conversation with her friends, I went back to the room and was about to break up with her, but then I decided not to leave her because I came up with a much better plan. I have a cousin who has tried to become a model. Let's call her Irina. She's 23. I knew for sure that she had a lot of money. Her father is an extremely successful businessman, but unfortunately, he didn't approve of her career choice, thinking it was a waste of time. So, he refused to help her until she landed some modeling contracts on her own. Irina moved to our city a few months after I started dating Bella, and I realized she could use my help. But Bella forbade me from helping her, saying the modeling business was too competitive, and if we helped Irina with contacts, she could become a threat to Bella. So, Irina had to fight on her own. Although she had her father's credit card, she was still very young, had no contacts, and didn't know how to network. But after hearing what Bella and her friends said, I decided to help Irina. In return, she was supposed to send me half of each contract she signed thanks to my advice. Since then, I started keeping track of all the castings Bella went to, meeting the right people there, and then passing those contacts to Irina. Sometimes she got a contract, sometimes not, but each time she sent me a whole $1 because she was angry at her father for refusing to help her. It was a lot, but who am I to complain? If she wanted to teach her father a lesson, and I was profiting from it, let her be angry as much as she wants. I was perfectly fine with this arrangement because every month I was getting richer. Of course, I had to hide all of this from Bella because she would definitely suspect something if I suddenly started showing interest in something I had never cared about before. This went on for several months, and over time, I completely cooled off towards my girlfriend. I still didn't break up with her because I continued using her connections to help Irina, but other than that, I tried to minimize our communication. I was romantic and sweet with her when we were together, so she had no idea what was really happening. I also told my parents that I wasn't going to marry Bella a week after I overheard her nasty comments about me. They didn't know the details of the situation, but they knew the wedding wasn't happening. Of course, I didn't tell Bella anything, and she kept planning the wedding, asking me to book the venue and arrange contractors. I agreed but did nothing. This week, several things happened at once, and she finally found out everything I had been doing behind her back. The wedding invitations were supposed to be sent out now, but as I said, I hadn't prepared anything. Also, my cousin Irina finally signed a contract with a very prestigious modeling agency. She was incredibly grateful to me, and even her father was thankful. So, he sent me another $5,000 for all the help. Honestly, they're quite generous people. And just a few days ago, when Bella asked why the invitations hadn't been sent yet, I decided to finally confess everything to her and end our relationship. I had spent so many months on this disguise, and now that I had made enough money off her, I saw no reason to continue this performance. And Irina had achieved what she wanted, and she no longer needed my help. Also, I had completely lost all feelings for Bella, so there was no point in staying with her anymore. When she asked about the invitation, I told her the truth that I had done absolutely nothing regarding the organization and that there wouldn't be any wedding at all. She was, of course, stunned and asked if I was joking. Then I confessed that I had overheard her little joke with her friends and hadn't forgiven her. When she asked why I had stayed with her for so long, I told her that I used her to promote Irina's career, and that Irina had paid me very generously for this help. Since I decided to tell the truth, there was no point in hiding anything, so I honestly confessed everything. She was shocked by what she heard, and her reaction was just hysterical. She cried, yelled, and threw a tantrum, saying I had betrayed her and used her. I told her that all of this happened solely because of what she had said behind my back. Then Bella started claiming that it was just a joke, but it was not funny at all, and on the contrary, it was very hurtful and humiliating. We argued about it for a while, but then she gave up and said that I had betrayed her in the worst possible way because of a simple joke and that she wouldn't even wish that on her enemies. She completely fell apart and said she had truly loved me. And I didn't even think it was worth talking to her at first and just decided to destroy our relationship because of some silly joke. I stood my ground and explained that for me, it wasn't just a joke, it hit a nerve. Jokes should be funny, not outright mean. And her words sounded exactly like that. What hurt me more than her words was the fact that she sat there among her equally empty friends mocking my appearance. She didn't even try to defend me. On the contrary, she joined in the collective laughter at my expense. That's what hurt the most. I was the one paying for absolutely everything she wanted and constantly taking care of her happiness. So I certainly didn't deserve such treatment. Furthermore, I started working even harder to support the both of us. So hearing her mock me because I wasn't as attractive as she was especially painful. She packed her things immediately after our argument and left about an hour later. I didn't even try to stop her. I was so angry and hurt. The next 2 days, I completely immersed myself in work to forget and feel nothing. Of course, I had long since fallen out of love with her, but I had still gotten used to her presence. Sometimes it seemed like I could fall in love with her again. But now, when it was all over, I just didn't know what to do alone in the empty house I was returning to. This morning, I got a message from Bella saying she still loved me and was ready to fix things if I wanted. She wrote that she missed me terribly and couldn't imagine her life without me. I haven't replied yet because I don't know what to say to her. I don't know if I miss her, love her, or want to get back together or not. I have no answers to any of these questions because my feelings are in complete chaos right now. I don't know what to reply to her. I feel like a total jerk for what I did to her. Maybe she was right. Maybe I really misunderstood everything and blew it out of proportion. After all, I did use Bella to promote Irina's career and get rich myself. So, before we continue, I suggest you write your opinion in the comments about what you've heard. We had a similar story not long ago. I think you heard it, but in that case, the girl mocked her boyfriend's intimate details. To me, this feels different. Well, there I also said that I don't even know how to relate to it. On one hand, it's abnormal and immature. On the other hand, this kind of thing really happens when you're young. And maybe it's not worth judging so harshly, especially when you're both young and immature. But here, I think it's a different situation because here the girl straight up tells her friends that she's dating her boyfriend only because he's a rich fool. Well, to me, that's already over the top. It's one thing to say he's strange when he moans or has some weird-shaped long johns, but it's a whole different thing to say this. So, I think the author did the right thing. What do you think? Could it have just been some kind of show-off in front of her friends? Well, maybe. It could have been, but that really speaks badly of the person if they're doing this just for the sake of showing off. Let's continue and see what happened next. Update. In the end, I didn't reply to Bella's message. I read many comments and messages on my post and realized that maybe I really crossed a line. I even thought about contacting Bella and apologizing for everything that happened, but then I received a message from her friend who wanted to tell me something. She sent me a screenshot of her conversation with Bella, where Bella was asking to stay with her for a while, until her boyfriend, the loser, meaning me, would reconcile with her or until she found someone new. Her friend told me that Bella sent this message to their whole group and said she left after the argument, but didn't explain what the argument was about. This friend felt awkward because Bella kept talking badly about me, even though we were supposed to get married in a couple of months. So she decided to tell me what Bella had been saying behind my back just to clear her conscience. She didn't know that I already knew how Bella spoke about me, but I'm thankful her conscience woke up in time and saved me from apologizing to Bella and taking her back. I really dodged a bullet there. All the criticism and condemnation I received for staying with Bella just for revenge was completely justified. That's what made me rethink my attitude towards the situation and almost pushed me to apologize. But unfortunately, we were all just being led around, because Bella truly deserved everything I did to her. Maybe if it had been a normal and less selfish person, I would have admitted that I acted wrongly. But this is Bella. She's literally the embodiment of narcissism and selfishness. I still can't believe she was ready to come back to me just because she had nowhere to live. Although, it's not surprising, since she's become quite lazy in the last few months. She just went to castings and did nothing at home. But that didn't bother me. I calmly cleaned up after both of us because she was bringing me good money. Through Irina. She didn't even go shopping, so I spent less than I earned. When I saw that screenshot, I was so glad that I hadn't responded to her yet. And after that, I definitely decided, no reconciliation. She's just a horrible person. What I did to her is practically madness. But she completely deserved it. I blocked her on all platforms and am even thinking about moving to a bigger apartment so I don't have to face her anymore. I've already made good money thanks to Irina and her father, and in a couple of weeks, I'm supposed to get a raise. So, it's time to start moving and looking for a new place. My friends were pretty surprised when I told them that there wasn't going to be a wedding, because they had no idea. When I told them everything, they were shocked that I was able to pull off such a story. Some think she deserved it, while others think I went too far and should have just broken up with her the day I heard her joke. I'm sure when everyone finds out about her fake confession of love just to keep living with me rent-free and without contributing to the household, they'll all agree that she fully deserved what I did. Even if she finds a guy who, after a couple of months of dating, lets her move in with him, I doubt he'll be as blind and charmed as I was and let her live off his money. Although, who knows, maybe she'll find someone. I'm not concerned anymore. I'm just glad she left and that I won't have to deal with her anytime soon. Probably, Bella realized that not every guy will turn a blind eye to her lifestyle. And not everyone will just let her move in with them and spend their money. Unless, of course, she decides to look for a sugar daddy, but that's another story. She somehow got another number and started writing to me, trying to blackmail me into letting her back. Her tactic, to say the least, was unsuccessful. She tried to scare me by saying that if I didn't let her live with me until she found a new guy, she'd tell everyone that I used her connections in the modeling industry to help my rich cousin. I hope she realizes that if she doesn't tell the whole truth, people will just think I was being a good relative. And I really hope she's not naive enough to think that she can talk trash about me, and I'll just sit there and stay silent. I told her that if she starts talking about me, I'll also tell the truth about what she did, and the truth will come out. Besides, she has a decent following on social media, so it'll affect her a lot more than it will me. She hasn't replied yet, and I hope she doesn't because she really got on my nerves, but as if there weren't enough messages, today Bella showed up at my work. The administrator called me because Bella refused to leave until she saw me. I had to take her to the nearest cafe to talk there and avoid embarrassing myself in front of my colleagues, because I immediately realized she was about to cause a scene. And that's exactly what happened. As soon as we sat down at the table, she started whining about how unfairly I had treated her and that she deserved a second chance, no matter what. She wants to prove that, under the right circumstances, she could be a good girl. This really surprised me. I asked what she meant by the right circumstances because, as far as I knew, she already had perfect conditions. She lived completely stress-free and didn't pay for anything. And as it turned out, this was exactly what she meant by circumstances. She said that I spoiled her to the point of madness, letting her wipe her feet on me. If I had stood up to her more, she might have even been more attracted to me. I was too weak-willed and had an average appearance. And to top it off, I didn't have any self-esteem, which made it ridiculously easy for her to boss me around without any guilt. And that's why she said the things she said. But now, when she found out that all this time I had secretly been making a fool out of her, she suddenly started feeling attracted to me and, according to her, now could take me seriously as a potential boyfriend. I'm not making this up. Bella really said that out loud. I was barely able to hold back from laughing in her face while she said this because it was just absurd. I don't even know if it was her last desperate attempt to get me back or if she actually believed what she was saying, but it was fucking hilarious. I finally just said I'd think about her words and get back to her later because I could barely hold in my laughter. She even made me promise that I'd talk to her when I got home. Here's another reason I'm glad we broke up. She always started being sweet when she realized I was angry with her. No idea why. Maybe she thought if she pretended to be a little girl, it would make her more attractive in my eyes. In reality, it just disgusted me. I was too polite to tell her that. I got home half an hour ago. I just can't believe that after everything that happened, she's still trying to get back with me just because she has nowhere to live. It's really pathetic. She was so lazy and dependent on a man that she couldn't even gather the remains of her pride and leave me alone. I'm not going to talk to her anymore and will make sure that the next time she tries to get in touch, she realizes I don't want to know her. It's only been a day since Bella showed up at my work. And today, she called me again. This time, from a friend's phone. I answered because I wanted to finally end everything. When she asked if I had thought about her words, I answered that there was nothing to think about. And even if they put a gun to my head and demanded that I get back with her, I would still refuse. I gave her a long rant and told her everything that had been building up inside. I told her she was a pathetic failure, and I wasn't dealing with her anymore. She should start looking for someone else to latch onto. Bella started arguing, claiming that the only reason I had a lot of money now was because I used her and her connections to worm my way into my rich cousin's trust. So, she said, I was the one who latched onto her **. Well, that's all. Write your opinion in the comments. Watch our previous video. Be sure to subscribe to our channel, if for some reason you haven't done so yet. And good luck to you.